Bonjour, Mishko Podman, Quain Addition Cosmundo Dam. Hi, everybody. It's Sandy Boucher here, and welcome back to Surviving Isolation in my brand new location. I'm thrilled that you could join me today. And before I say anything else, I'd like to send out a big warm welcome to all of my viewers and followers. So, if you're listening to this on Sandy Boucher, the podcast, welcome. I'm thrilled that you could join us. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. And if you feel the need to share, well, that's not going to upset me. And if you're watching this on Shaw Spotlight, thank you for welcoming me back into your home. This is episode 21, the August 7th episode, even though technically I'm releasing this a couple days late on Shaw Spotlight. You always watch it about a week after it's been recorded, but everyone else, you're going to notice the time difference. Can you say moving? That's about where that's going to end up. And speaking of moving, and the stress that comes with moving, this is a perfect time to do a mental health check-in. How are you doing? I know today's show, we're going to focus on change. And the reality is some people aren't really comfy with change. And in this whole self-isolation pandemic, COVID-19 reality, things seem to be changing all the time. And even when they change for the better, that doesn't mean that it doesn't bring a certain level of nervousness and anxiety with it. So we're going to be talking about that today. But before we do that, I did just want to say that I hope you're doing well and I hope you're comfortable and I hope you feel safe, because I think that's where a lot of the anxiety is coming from. We get nervous about our safety and our health, and would we be able to survive it if we were, God forbid, to get COVID-19. So I hope you're in a comfortable situation, you're comfortable with your safety and the safety of your loved ones, so that we can enjoy this episode together. As always, we got to do our stats. So it was way back on March 11th when the World Health Organization officially declared the pandemic 216 days ago. That, as you've seen in every episode, that number just consistently blows me away every single time. For me, on March 14th was when I went into self-isolation. March 13th was the last time I did a live event, and I am thrilled to say that this statistic is going to disappear in a couple of weeks because I have a live event booked. It's a very small group. Social distancing for sure. It's local, so I won't be traveling, but it's an event, and I'm so excited. My last event, as I mentioned, was on March 14th, and as of August 7th, it's 219 days ago. That's way too long to go without seeing all the people I care about. And in Ontario, it was March 17th when Premier Ford declared the state of emergency 222 days ago, as of August 7th. There's our statistics for this week. Now, as I mentioned, this week we're talking about change. Based on the years of being a motivational speaker, I know for a fact that some people really don't like change at all. They are stressed to the nines trying to control their entire environment. They're attempting, emphasis on the word attempting to control their environment and their home and their work and their friends and their partner and their family members, and it's insanity. I mean, the reality is we don't control anything but ourselves. We are constantly changing. Our bodies are changing. We're aging. The weather is changing. The seasons are changing. Our family members are changing. And I'm going to talk a little bit more in a few minutes about how I deal with the reality that everything is always changing. Now, some people out there actually thrive on change. They love it. And I gotta admit, I'm probably leaning towards that camp. It's boredom that I don't like, monotony, the same old, same old. I could never ever do that. I'm the kid on Christmas morning. When I wake up and I know things are going to change today and new things are going to happen, I find that incredibly exciting. So change is definitely not a negative in my world. And then there's another group of people that don't mind change if they initiate it, if they make the change and they choose when it's going to happen and how it's going to happen, then they're okay with it. So they're kind of a combination of the two groups in that they don't like change if it's initiated by someone else, but if they do it, they're okay with it. And I think, in my humble opinion, no expert here, just my opinion, I think that's why this pandemic has freaked so many people out. For all of those people that don't like change, well, they got taken out right away. I mean, this was a huge, absolute huge change. Lockdown, isolation was a huge change. Not being able to go to the movies or the restaurants the way we used to, huge, huge change. And then all those people that only like change if they initiate it, well, I think a lot of us felt absolutely powerless and helpless for the longest time. And understandably, and it was finding a way to adjust that I know for me became essential. I had to find a way to get okay with our new reality because it was our new reality. Now, I have had a challenging past. I may have a beautiful life now, but anyone who follows my career knows I've done the poverty. I've had alcohol blow my family apart more times than I care to count. And I'm a 10-year domestic abuse survivor, so I know what chaos and change and sudden dramatic change is all about. Ages ago, I realized that a really amazing coping mechanism is choosing what I focus on. Rather than allowing the world to decide what I'm going to focus on, I make the conscious effort to choose. And I have this little slogan, this little reminder, this little motto that I live by every single day. And that is celebrate and survive. Celebrate and survive. So, what do I mean by that? Well, I take the opportunity to celebrate absolutely everything. If you follow my blog post, my first post in the morning is I am awake and I am alive because I'm celebrating those things. I'm celebrating that I'm awake. I have the opportunity to enjoy this amazing day and everything that's sent my way as a result. And I'm alive. And so many of my loved ones aren't here and are unable to say that anymore. So I celebrate both of those things. I have my to-do list every single day and I celebrate every single one of them, checking them off. I love that feeling. In fact, I don't do it anymore. I'm not sure why I don't do it anymore, but up until a couple years ago, you know, when you do the check mark and you mark everything off, I actually took a little, I made it a smiley face. I did the check and put little dots over it. So I had a line of smiley faces in my day book. And I know anyone, you might think that's silly. It made me happy. And that's, life is short. I'm going to do it happy. And if making a smiley face in my day book makes me happy, why not? It's not hurting anyone. It's like me collecting my frogs. I have ceramic frogs all over because they make me giggle and I'm having a Monday on it's not Monday. Giggling over the frogs. And I'm giggling over tripping over my words. Can you tell this is live and real and authentic? Because, yeah, okay. So, for today's episode, I really wanted to focus on that celebrate and survive. Well, we didn't talk about surviving. I have to explain the surviving part. What I mean by surviving is, and I don't mean that barely surviving, barely hanging on, even though some days, truth be told, life throws curves. Some days that's all you got. What I am talking about is preparing for the future. When you watch the animals preparing for winter, oh, excuse me, I need to eat something. I'm going to yawn here. When you watch the animals preparing for winter, they are preparing to survive. When we buy winter clothes for our children, we are preparing to ensure they survive. It took me years because being raised in poverty, managing money really wasn't something I was taught. There was no money to manage, so why concern yourself with it? When I started making a good income, I still didn't put money aside for a rainy day. I guess I kind of wrote that off. That's what affluent people do. And it wasn't until I realized that I pride myself on preparing to survive, setting money aside for the rainy day that I know is coming. There's going to be rough days, just like there's going to be great days. And if I don't prepare for them, I'm setting myself up for a fall. I can't blame anyone else. I'm doing it to myself. And when that nickel dropped, I was like, whoa, okay, suddenly this makes sense to me. So I started setting money aside. The sun's coming out here. It's putting strange lights on my forehead. I look like, I don't know, can that be a halo? I doubt it. My brother just burst out laughing at the implication that I may have a halo. Okay, so what I did today, we're running with this celebrate and survive, celebrate and survive, celebrate all the little things every day, but prepare to survive the rough times. You know they're coming, just like you buy winter tires or you put gas in your car because you know you're going to run out otherwise. Yes, you prepare to survive and you celebrate. So what I did is I sat down with a pen and paper, my handy dandy index cards, and I wrote down 3 ways. Okay, is that light driving you nuts? It's driving me nuts. I'm going to try to close the window and see if that helps. I'll be right back. It worked. I no longer have sunlight on my forehead. Can you tell this is one of the very first videos I'm shooting in my new location. I have a window behind me and I'm just figuring out the logistics. So thank you for helping me figure it out. Now back to what I was saying. For this show, I sat down with pen and paper, my handy dandy index cards, and I decided to come up with 3 things that I thought right off the top of my head when I'm celebrating, and 3 ways in which I am preparing to survive. So here they are. Celebrating, 1, that no one close to me, none of my loved ones, none of my dear sweet friends, no one that is in my inner circle, knock on serious wood here, that none of us have gotten sick. None of us have got COVID-19. So that in itself, I mean, we can look for the challenges in the day. Let us take a second to celebrate that. Like, thank you. Just thank you. That in itself is enough, is huge. The second one, that I remain healthy and strong, and I'm celebrating that because as long as I'm healthy and strong, I have options. There are things I can do. There are things I can change. There are things within my control. So I strive to stay that way, healthy and strong. And last but not least, and I think a whole bunch of you will agree with this one, or this one will resonate with you, that I have my family. I went 75 days without seeing my grandchildren, and it was the longest, darkest, hardest time period of my life. I moved back home from Toronto back to Thunder Bay when my daughter started talking about having a family, because I knew I didn't want to miss that, and missing and not seeing my grandchildren was just not something I ever want to replicate. And I hope we never go down into lockdown again, because so please stay safe and healthy and social distance and wear your masks so we never have to do that again, because I don't want to miss my grandchildren anymore. So those are my things I'm celebrating. And I think they're worth celebrating. And I really invite you to take the time, whether you grab a pen and paper like I did, or you discuss it with your family, have the conversation. What are they celebrating? You can help. Oh my God, I have to eat something. I'm so sorry. You can help your family through this. You can help your friends through this by helping them figure out what there is to celebrate, because I don't care what day it is, there is always something to celebrate. Now, we better talk about surviving. So I sat down and I thought, what am I doing to help ensure I survive challenges that are coming forward? Well, the first one was really super easy. Ta-da! My new environment. The reality is, for an entrepreneur that's self-employed, I don't have a steady paycheck, although a lot of people who do had a steady paycheck lost it during COVID, so that doesn't even apply anymore. But for me, my entire revenue was on live events, which we know weren't allowed under lockdown. So it scared the bejesus out of me. That's what I'm going to say. It scared the daylights out of me. So what I decided to do was move to something a little more economical, a little more easier to sustain. I mean, my business is doing fine. Do not worry about me. And that's going to bring me into my second step. But it was a conscious decision that now that my business has rebounded, I probably could have afforded my condo, but it just wasn't a comfy level anymore. It's like, you know what? I would feel way more comfy with something that is a little less of a financial strain on my bank account. So that was the first step in surviving. The second one was pivoting my business, and that's the term we're using for that shift, just like a basketball player pivots on that one foot. It's you're still in business and you still have your business, but adjusting it so that you could survive during COVID-19. So for me, it was putting a lot of things online. I do a lot more videos now. I offer online courses. I do coaching over the internet or on the telephone. So it was pivoting my business so that I could survive. And who knew that there was so much work out there that I could do from home? Truth be told, I love traveling, don't get me wrong, and I love going out to the communities and meeting all my amazing participants. And last year I had a record year as far as revenue is concerned. And I just about killed myself because I was traveling a lot, to the extent that my loved ones were starting to get worried about me. So I'm thrilled that I found this balance in that I'm able to earn an income by staying home. And yes, I'm going to travel and I'm so looking forward to it, but I don't have to anymore. It's not I got to go out and do this much to cover my expenses. Now that the expenses are down and I've found a way to earn revenue from home, meh, it's working out in the whole survival land. And last but not least, the other step I've taken to ensure I survive and get through the rough times is, again, health. My steps, being physically active and watching what I eat. And that's twofold. First off, I just want to be healthy long term, to be able to continue doing what I do and loving my career and being able to meet people and having the energy and vitality to be able to entertain and have fun when I'm with a group. I want to be able to do that. But also, truth be told, God forbid if for some reason I was to get sick, if I was to get COVID, I want to make sure I'm healthy enough to fight it off because I want to be here for a long, long time for my loved ones. I want to see those grandkids of mine grow up and have families of their own. So I have to stay healthy for those reasons. So that's my survival list: the moving, the pivoting of the business, and my health. What can you celebrate? And what are you doing to ensure you survive tomorrow? You're already surviving. Whether you think you're doing it well or not, you're here. You're still here. You're watching the show. So pat on back for doing well so far. What could you do a little bit different to make it more comfy? Whining and complaining that we can't do things, I'm sorry, it doesn't help. And it's got you focusing on all the wrong stuff. What can you do? What can you do to enjoy your day? Have that cup of tea. Call a friend. Go outside and have a picnic on the grass if you can. Even if you're just having it by yourself, it's a picnic. I mean, picnics are awesome till the ants show up, and that's a totally different story. Celebrate and survive. Celebrate and survive because things are changing and hopefully for the better for all of us really super soon. That's this episode of Surviving Isolation, and I hope it resonated with you. Until next Friday, be well, be safe, stay home, wear your mask, social distance, and let's do our best to celebrate and survive. I love you. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.